complaint. The select board is going to be hearing, let's see, we'll be holding the hearing in of 20 VSEA 3546, and to hear evidence and receive testimony on the complaint of a vicious dog kept by Elizabeth Prentice, sorry, presently residing at 27 Row Hill Road. Hearing is open to the public, but is not open to the public comment, only for those offering evidence in the above stated matter. Yes, go ahead.
And we have model rules of procedure for the vicious dog domestic pet bite hearings, and I will just read through those so everyone here as well as the board can have that information. So we will be following the purpose, the application, and the procedure. The purpose is the select board of the town of Berlin. Hereafter, the board is required by 20 VSA section 3546 to conduct a hearing when a dog domestic pet has bitten a person while the dog domestic pet is off the premises of the owner or keeper. The person bitten requires medical attention for the attack, and the person bitten has filed a written complaint with the board. The purpose of these rules is to establish uniform procedures for conducting the vicious dog domestic pet hearings and ensure compliance with Vermont's open meeting law. So that's the purpose section of what we'll be doing tonight. The application is that these rules of procedure apply to all vicious dog domestic pet bite hearings conducted by the board, and a copy of these rules will be provided to the complainant victim, the dog domestic pet owner keeper, anyone offering evidence in the proceeding, and any member of the public upon request. The board chair will conduct the hearing in accordance with the procedure that follows. Under the procedure section, the board chair, or in the chair's absence, the vice chair, will preside over all vicious dog domestic pet bite hearings. If both the chair and the vice chair are absent, a member will be selected to chair the hearing by a quorum of the board prior to the start of the hearing. The chair may make motions and vote on all questions before the board. The chair rules on all questions of order and procedure. All hearings will be recorded. They can be recorded audio or video. A copy of the recording must be posted in a designated electronic location for a minimum of 30 days following the approval and posting of the official minutes of the hearing. The chair and or the board by majority vote may exclude any irrelevant, unreliable, or unnecessarily repetitive evidence. Relevant evidence is any verbal testimony or document that tends to demonstrate the innocence or guilt of the dog domestic pet and or owner keeper subject to complaint. Reliable evidence is any relevant evidence commonly relied upon by reasonably prudent people in the conduct of their affairs. The complainant victim, the dog domestic pet owner keeper, and all people offering written evidence must submit 3 copies of any documentary evidence to the board. The board will mark all documents submitted with appropriate identifying information, and then the board will take all of that information and then move into deliberations, and the board has determined that those deliberations tonight will be private. So following the deliberations, the decision of the board will set forth its findings of fact, conclusion of law, and protective order for the dog domestic pet if applicable, and will be made in writing and sent to the complainant victim and dog domestic pet owner keeper within 30 days. These rules may be amended by majority vote by the board. Adopted by the select board of the town of Berlin at its meeting held tonight, December 1st, 2025. Signed by Joe Staub, Chair of Board of the Town of Berlin. Thank you all for your patience in hearing that out.
So the complainant, Sylvia Parker, on Friday, November 21st, 2025, approximately noon, Sylvia Park lives at 2835 Crosstown Road, Berlin, Vermont, 05602. And she was at the top of Row Hill, at the corner of Crosstown and Row Hill. She was standing by the edge of the road near the mailboxes with her back to the driveway of the corner house, which was 27 Row Hill. She was then bitten. She was treated at the emergency room at Central Vermont Hospital for approximately 5 hours that afternoon of the bite, and then again the next day for further bleeding. A follow-up appointment was made for November 24th with Dr. Bean at CVH. Let's see. And it goes on to say that the dog was a medium-sized dog with a flat bulldog-like face, appearing, let's see, with prominent teeth at my knee level. So, medium dog. Please see the attached sworn statement for description of the incident. And that's what I'm looking for.
And it also notates that there's another appointment scheduled for 12/10/25 for a follow-up as well.
Okay. Here's the sworn statement. Let's see, approximately noon on November 21st, 2025, I walked, as I often do, up Crosstown Road from my house. I turned onto the corner of Row Hill to continue my walk. I felt a hard hit on the back of my right leg, just below my knee. I then saw a dog, and I realized I had been bitten, not hit, with a stick. I stood still a while. The dog, I'm not sure, something.
Circled me.
Is that circled? Okay. Circled me and lunged repeatedly. I was carrying a large white envelope and held it between me and the dog. Seemed like distance.
Seemed to
Distract enough. Sorry. Cursive, it's a little new. Distracted enough, and it didn't bite me again. I took several minutes for me to walk slowly back around the corner and back down Crosstown Road towards my house, approximately a mile away. Eventually, the dog lost interest and turned back. I walked as I was aware of an ache on my back, my leg, and after approximately half a mile, I looked down towards. Is there nothing on the back?
It's page 2.
I don't have a page 2.
I can read the rest of it. Looked down toward the aching place and discovered blood on my pant leg. The bloody spot grew and grew. By the time I arrived back home, approximately a half hour later, my pant leg was soaked from knee down and filled my sock and shoe, and was still flowing. It then occurred to me that this was serious. I called Berlin Police and Officer Collier, and he would meet me at the emergency room. I pulled my pant leg down to have a look and discovered 4 huge bite marks and blood still flowing. Officer Collier summoned the animal control officer, and we conferred in the ER waiting room. They say this particular dog has bitten other people, and police have confronted its owner several times before. Officer C took pictures of the wounds and mass of blood. He then departed with the animal control officer and confronted the dog owner. I stayed in the ER for treatment of the wounds. Signed, Sylvia Parker, 11/23/2025. Subscribed and sworn to.
So you all have pictures, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Swearing in.
To remind all present,
Okay.
that portion of means all that administering the oath.
All right, so any of the statements would be directed to the chair. And we'll hear from both parties. And should we do the oath individually or all at once?
Anybody that intends to give testimony should take the oath.
Take the oath.
Take the oath. So is
if
there,
you're planning to
who's
give
gonna be,
testimony, you wanna raise
who
your
wants
right
to
hand?
give testimony? Okay. So under pain and penalty of perjury, do you solemnly swear that the evidence you're gonna give in this case under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Yes, I do.
All right. So, Ms. Parker, would you have anything you'd like to share?
I guess that statement pretty much covers what happened, and I know you board members have heard that before. I actually have pictures that I wonder if I could show to you and to others who don't have the packet. Would that be acceptable?
Is it okay just to
Is-
show it to the parties involved
To
instead
the
of everybody else?
parties involved in the board. You
Okay.
can share it with us and the
Can I
parties
share it
involved.
with
The
people who
board
are
should
here?
have it in the package.
No, I think that
Are
it
they
should
the
just be
same?
at this table, in my
It's a
opinion.
public, it's public, so
Yeah.
This is a
they
public
have the
hearing.
right to see the
Okay.
information too.
So,
By law,
um,
if anybody requests it, they're allowed to receive copies of it
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
So I can
Unfortunately.
request copies of literally everything?
This
This
is
entire
all
package, if
public.
you'd like.
I would
Yes.
love one, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
The police officer, when he met me in the emergency room and after we discussed,
Can I just stop you for a second?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Joe, can I just, so, I just wanna make sure, I don't know if we need to request, but they're supposed to disclose any potential conflicts of interest or any ex parte communications? Does anybody,
What does that mean?
if anybody feels they have a conflict of interest in hearing this, or I don't think we.
What do you
any
mean
of us
by a
do.
conflict
And that
of
would be-
That
interest?
would be the board.
The board.
Oh, okay.
So do you
so-
have a conflict of
No.
interest, Vince?
I
Well-
do not.
And I do not.
Okay, just wanna make sure, and we've had no ex parte communications except for the, Sylvia coming to the meeting last time, and,
In the
Talking to
communications
us.
with the town since.
but that was, yeah, okay, just wanna, okay, sorry,
No, thank you.
sorry to interrupt you, go ahead.
okay. All right, well, you've gotten most of the story. The police officer actually took pictures in the emergency room before he and the animal control officer left to go to the home of where this dog lived. And so I thought it would be interesting for you people to pass the pictures around. These are before treatment. This particular one is looking down my leg into my sock, and that's the pool of blood at the bottom. So pass them around. After treatment at the hospital, which took a long time, it was for sure a couple of hours in the emergency room at the hospital, at which point the nurse took some further pictures, actually with our cell phone, before bandaging it back up. So here's another set of pictures. This is after treatment, and you can see some very deep holes, some stitches, slightly different angle, yeah, so this, and there's remnants of bandages around, and so this is what occurred in the emergency room.
Could we look at the ones before? Sorry, I didn't get to see those. Thank you.
So then, that happened on Friday. Saturday, again, I had gone to a musical event, and some of us went to lunch afterwards. And after lunch, I thought I felt something on my ankle. I just felt wet. And I rolled up my cuff and looked, and here was my whole leg soaked again, a day later. So back to the emergency room, and they spent another few hours helping me out and getting it patched up yet again. And then they set up an appointment for with me with an orthopedics person on, that was Saturday, Monday, and that happened. So meanwhile, I've had instructions for how to change the bandages myself at home, which I do. And the first few days, I would take off, the, big thick gauze bandages just filled with blood and replace them and put sterilizing cream on and wrap it back up as I had been instructed to do. So here it is a week later, a whole week later, the next Friday. I'm doing that, and I thought it might be informative for me to have taken more pictures. So here are more pictures. A week later, notice the gauze bandages still have blood marks, although it's not soaked through with blood, but I take it that those are the worst holes in my leg. So this is a week later at my house.
May I ask, did she come, like, if this is your thigh, did she bite you like this or like that? It doesn't matter, I'm just curious, I couldn't tell from the pictures.
Well, there are the teeth marks
So she bit
on each
like that
side,
then,
I think.
from nose to bottom of her mouth.
Well, I don't know.
I don't think
It's
you would
probably a
know
little hard
because
to
it
tell.
happened behind you.
Right.
That's exactly right. I mean, I didn't see the bite happen. There was no growling, no barking, no sound, no nothing. I just felt that hit. So I don't know how the dog did it. I know where the holes are. So, what else can I say? That I've been trying to live a normal life. I'm thinking of nothing else for all this time. This morning I changed bandages and that they're still bleeding. So this is a week and a half later, still bleeding. But, some progress is being made. So I think about this all the time, and it occurred to me, what if I had panicked? What if I had run? What if I had, tried to kick the dog or hit the dog or provoked it in some way to bite me again? This is one bite, unprovoked, totally unprovoked. So, I don't know what more to say.
Does anyone have any questions?
Seen it all around?
Yeah, I think we've seen most.
Do you know, based on the doctor's appointments that you've had, it should be a complete, if there's any permanent damage, if you should recover completely eventually, or?
They haven't said so specifically, but supposedly, new skin will form,
Okay.
new blood vessels will form.
But there's no like nerve just one, yeah.
Are you able to walk okay? Are you still in pain?
I am walking, okay.
Good, I'm glad. I am sorry for this.
Okay. Now, Elizabeth, do you have anything to say? And it should be directed.
Yeah, that's fine. I sometimes speak too much, and I don't want to do that. I mean, I guess I'm not really quite sure what to say. We had a handyman over to fix my dad. Yeah, please.
So, first of all, I want to tell you how profoundly apologetic I feel and how I wish you will forgive me
Me
because
too.
I consider myself responsible for this injury happening to you. And if there's anything you can do to help you along in your recovery, we certainly will. The dog came out of my house, even though it's Elizabeth's pet. Dog came out of my house, and I consider myself responsible that this happened to you. And I feel terrible about that.
You opened the door.
The door was open, enough for the dog to find its way out.
Well, we had a handyman over.
May I continue?
Yeah, sorry, I thought you were done.
So, by way of background, I'd like to mention a few things that are not meant to be excuses. This is an example for me of of two virtuous acts with a very, very unsatisfactory outcome. The first virtuous act was that Elizabeth took it upon herself to rescue a dog that had been abused as a smaller dog. Came up from the south, and Elizabeth was committed to make a home for the pet and give her a good life. And she worked hard to do that. She did establish a loving environment. The dog is characterized as a vicious dog because that's the format we follow. And certainly what it did was vicious, but it's not a vicious animal. It's a loving, sweet, and not a junkyard dog, a dog that was well cared for. Made a lot of visits to the vet to find help for this tendency, and it became apparent that although the dog behaved itself, it was very easily triggered, usually by a strange man coming into the house. And Elizabeth set up protocols to keep confrontations like that from happening. And she did keep the pet safely in her home with very little pushback. The second virtuous act was I was sick for a couple of months at the beginning of the year. And after about 7 weeks in the hospital, I made it home. And Elizabeth very kindly offered to come stay with me. And did so. And of course, her pet came with her. So these two, on the surface, loving and virtuous things led to a very, very bad outcome. And I'm so sorry that you were the victim of that outcome. Elizabeth felt that she had a program set up to keep people safe. And we followed it fairly clearly. In this instance, as inevitably will happen, and that's my fear, the dog gave us the slip. We had a repairman in the house. We knew he was coming. The dog was confined to a room where she would not be involved with this stranger in the house, but she somehow slipped out. And I was able to fend the dog off from the repairman, but she squirted out through the sliding door, which was open about 8 or 10 inches. And off she went. And you were the next person to encounter her. As I said, it's not an excuse. It's just kind of a brutal reality that Hope, which is the dog's name, is in many ways a lovely dog, but has been traumatized by some events in her past and does not conduct herself safely. And I recognize that. And I think I'm going to be relying on this body to make a recommendation that they feel is appropriate for the situation. Can't go back, but we certainly don't want to go forward down this road ever again. Elizabeth is moving back to her home in about less than 2 weeks. And of course the dog will be going with her, but that doesn't necessarily mean the affair is settled or the dog is safe. And I think I'm going to stop at this point. Other than to say again.
So I have a question.
Well, can I just say, I have pictures from today. They were literally putting in a fence in my backyard. My dog has never, and I'm not excuse again, my dog has never hurt anybody on my road. I think it's that because she was always on a lead. and I'm the main person she listens to. So if I say something, she does it. I'm terribly sorry that this happened. It's truly horrible. I wouldn't want this to happen to anybody. You know, I've been bitten by a dog before, not nearly as bad, nowhere near as bad as that. And I'm just so sorry. I really am.
So Elizabeth, you bring your dog to the Onion River Animal Hospital, right?
Correct.
Okay, so in the discharge for Hope, the required safety measures, it says Hope will be wearing a properly fitted muzzle all times when not in a crate. So you have a
Yes.
crate for this dog?
I do have a crate, yes, and I am in the market for a muzzle. Onion River, they only have these basket ones, and she's literally in between size 3 and 4 because her snout isn't that long. So I'm working with the muzzle project or something like that, to help me find the correct muzzle that will keep her full mouth, you know, inside of it. And the correct fit for one. So I'm working with them. I'm also looking on websites like Chewy, Amazon, Tractor Supply, Petco. And as soon as I get the muzzle, it will be on her at all times. And to let her in and out of the house. My dad's not doing it anymore. I am in and out, only me.
So when was the first time that Onion River recommended a muzzle? It seems like it was quite some time ago.
She had gone after, I've got all my animals are rescues, and I've got 2 other dogs. She had gone after one of the dogs, the female, when we first got her. And they became literally best friends. It happened again with a tiny little male that we had, that I got. So that's when they suggested it, but I couldn't find the right size. And then they
But
kind
this
of.
was like November 2024, I think.
I know.
So, it seems like within a year, you would have been able to find a muzzle for the dog.
I wasn't getting any help. I didn't know even where to look. The only kind of muzzle I had seen was just the basket ones that they have, or the ones that are like the collars, but they like just go around the snout, but the mouth is still out. So I didn't know what to do, to be honest with you. I wasn't getting any help. I guess I'm not trying to make excuses, it's just, I'm doing the best I now can.
I understand, but they're pretty clear about the fact that the dog should always have a muzzle and always be leashed.
They never told me that in November.
Well, it's in writing here,
Yeah.
that it was emailed to you.
Yeah, that was for out in the public, though, like if we were going into a store
It
and
says
stuff.
even if you're on your couch, it should be tied to the wall.
What?
Even if Hope is snuggling with you on the couch, she should have her on a harness and be attached to a wall. We talked at your visit about you having your arm through the leash, but it would be better to have her hooked so that if she jumps and pulls, she doesn't injure you.
That's when she's out on her lead outside.
It says if you're on the couch, she should have her,
Her leash on, yeah. I've got a special
and
leash
be
for her.
attached to a wall.
How would I attach my dog to a wall
I'm
on
just
the
reading
inside
what
of a house?
I'm just reading what it says in
Can I
there.
see it?
Yeah, and again, we'll get you a copy of this package as well, so you have the information.
It's down further.
Is it this dark piece?
No, it's actually down further. I mean, it's all relative, it's all talking about muzzling and leashing, but.
No, I get that, but I mean, how would
What
I?
I read was, further down toward the bottom.
Okay. Was this, do you know if this was sent by Allison Cornwall?
It came from Onion River, I don't.
Yeah.
Allison Cornwall.
It came from Onion River.
Okay, so I think this was Allison Cornwall that I met with. She knows all my dogs. That's gotta be a typo, cause there's no way to attach her to a wall. I had her lead outside attached to, the bottom beam of my staircase.
So how many dogs do you have? That
Three.
You have 3, and they're all rescues?
Correct.
And you've been doing this for how long?
I've had rescue dogs my entire life.
Okay, so you don't have like resources to help in,
This was
I
the
would think that
muzzle-
that would be like.
The
one of
muzzle movement was the first thing that Allison just gave me the other day when I brought Duncan in.
I would think if one was gonna be doing, taking in rescues, they would have some sort of resource support group of which they can, help in any kind of situation.
I've never even.
And you don't have anything like that.
I was never even told anything like that. In fact,
How,
we've been taking in rescues in our family ever since I was a little kid. And we've never had anything like that.
how long have you had Hope?
5 years, 6 years.
At least 4 or 5 years.
I'd say, yeah, like between 5.5 years.
Did you have any incidents at your previous house?
No,
Is it true that Hope has bit 3 different individuals, including the lady here tonight?
I'm sorry, Sylvia and one other person. There was another person who she went after, she was on her lead on the porch, and he walked onto the porch. And she started to go after him, and he had a box. And then my dad gave him $50 cash. He left, waited hours, called the police, reported it as a dog bite, and left out the fact that
Well,
my dad
it
gave him $50.
Well, it was. It was a dog.
Oh, I didn't see it, so then I guess so.
So I have a number of questions, right?
Okay.
I just wanna ask, and you understand that the board's gonna have to deliberate on the evidence that's presented in front of them and that they have, right?
Yes.
To make a decision on the dog.
Yes,
Right,
and I'm really praying that you,
Well, I understand, I'm a dog owner
Me too.
myself. But there's a lot of concern, I'll be very open and direct, because
I
I
know.
think this is important, right? So in November of '24, from Onion River, they helped develop a plan to manage this dog, according to them. From behavioral management protocol, which was mandatory muzzle training using resources from, there's a website here
what's
as
the
well.
website?
And it says it should be muzzled at all times when it's outside the crate, except during, potentially during designated nighttime hours. Training resources, they offered a number of training resources, safety, accountability, and it goes on, medications and owner education, right? This was basically a year ago, right? And
There's
again,
no excuse for it, I won't lie, I am horrible with email. I ask them to email me things constantly, it's just the truth, I am horrible.
Well, again, this is the concern.
No, I
that
understand.
we have, part
I
of it,
understand,
right?
I understand.
I'm sure you do, but I just wanna give you the opportunity of helping the board to make a decision by asking these difficult questions and bringing this up. They also, when they discharged the dog, they emailed a copy of this, of behavioral management for the aggressive dog, and they said that Hope has a history of suspect territorial-based aggression and recent bite incidences, so there've been other bites prior to a year ago that they're aware of.
It was to an animal, not a human.
Understand.
Okay.
But it still shows the tendency of the
Yeah,
dog.
I know, I just wanted
that
to
it needs-
make
that it
it
needs to
clear
be
that it wasn't a
managed,
human.
right? And they gave some safety measures, properly fitted muzzle, which, as you said, you've been working on.
I actually bought one then, and then I brought it back because it was size 4 and it was too big.
Yep.
Then I did size 3, was too small, and I had to bring that one back as well.
And you had, have you contacted this muzzle project, www.themuzzleproject.org?
Yes, sir.
Because they said they can help with training in muzzle fitting.
Yes, sir, I contacted them, I just got an email back, on how to show me how to correctly fit Hope for a muzzle.
Okay. And I know you've had, it says that they've discussed with you that impulse aggression cannot be effectively managed with medication alone.
Yes.
Which indicates, again, the importance of training, right, and and they emphasize the importance of mechanical separation and physical barriers as
What does that
well.
mean, mechanical separation?
Restraints, leashes,
Okay.
leads, things of that nature, right? And physical barriers, right? In a crate or in another room where it can't
Yeah.
get at somebody or another animal. So my concern is, right, then I'd like to hear from you what your plan would be going forward based on the board's decision as well. How would you change that behavior now to rapidly modify the dog's behavior or control it by restraint or some other means as necessary to ever prevent another incident like this occurring? Because again, there's 3 police reports that we have from 3 different bites that you're aware of, and then there's additional ones from animal attacks. And in fact, one report from Onion River says that it actually killed a cat as well from an attack. Again, that just, and I'm no expert, but it certainly indicates that there's a real serious concern with the behavior and the control of that animal, right? And so, again, I'm gonna be brutally honest, if you wanna convince the board of, a direction to go with their decision, you gotta be able to convince us of what controls are gonna be put in place, in my mind, of what controls are gonna be put in place to make sure this never happens again with this dog. And this is from Onion River, right? And there's a statement here that says, yes, he's bitten multiple people who have come in the home. Again, so even Onion River has.
Bitten multiple people where they went
Yep.
where?
Well, that's a statement that I'm gonna assume that you made to Onion River that back in December of, date generated, December of 25 is when they generated the report, but this is based on history. This is a history report from them that said you've had the dog for 4 years and was the only dog for a period of time.
I'm sorry,
She
did you
was fine
say
with
December
people.
of 25?
No, that's when they generated this report from the history. This was a history report from them.
It looks like a series of questions that they asked you.
They asked you,
Whether
yeah.
you use a crate, lifestyle, behavior.
When did this even happen?
This is looking back.
Yeah, this is history. And again, you'll get a copy. This is a history from other notes.
I'm
from
sorry,
Onion River.
I was speaking with her, I'm a visual learner, so it's
Yeah,
hard for
no,
me to understand and.
Well, again, you'll get a copy, but my point is, what's going to be different going forward that can influence the board's decision in a positive way for your benefit? How are we gonna change behaviors and make sure that dog is controlled and safe?
You want me to answer?
If,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely.
So 1, finding the correct muzzle and size for her. Number 2, we have the fence that's almost done being put up. In my new home, there's a barrier, so there's also her crate as well, that completely locks closed, and I even use, like the carabiners to put through the holes as well to make sure it's completely sealed, like so she can't get out. And yes, the muzzle, correct size, the right kind for her. Always keeping her on a leash. And it goes so you could, if you're in my kitchen, you go through a door and it's a sunroom, and through there's just a sliding door and it's a ramp and it just goes right down into the fenced in area. And that's 5 feet tall and it goes down into the ground, so there's no way for her to get out. If I'm gonna go to my car with her, which never happens unless I'm taking her to the vet or something, I will have her muzzle on her and I will have her leash on her. I even have a special leash. It's got obviously the long handle and it's like a stretchy piece, but then right behind her neck, it's got a big handle so I can pull her back.
So I'm gonna ask your opinion on what Onion River has stated in this. This is from November of 2024, when they discharged Hope. Again, there's a couple, again, as part of the board, I won't speak for the whole board, but there's some concerning statements and comments in here as well. For example, Hope was seen for aggressive behavior, again, November 2024, a year ago, so it's been a year of concern. After our discussion and exam, Hope's behavior sounds most like inter-household aggression and prey drive aggression. These are particularly difficult behaviors to extinguish and have the potential to be catastrophic. That's concerning, right? Since that time, right, we know of 3 attacks and another pet being killed. Then it goes on to say there's a difficult prospect once they start acting aggressive and so on. Then they gave a whole list of suggestions to help, right? And again, from the evidence that we have today, not many of these seem to have been put into place, right? Which means we're still allowing it to perpetuate. The first priority is to 100% remove Hope access to other animals she can injure. Even though she and Oreo are friends now, Hope should not be allowed with any other animals, full stop. In the person that did the analysis's experience, they said these behaviors seem like they may have extinguished, but they're really just hidden for a while, can start again at any moment. Then it goes on to say further, and again, you'll get a copy of this. Hope's mouth must be physically separate from all other animals and humans at all times. And then below is a summary of what they said they had talked about with you, but they wanted to emphasize it again, that this must be at all times. If given enough opportunities, Hope will bite again, and there's a real risk that she will kill another animal or severely injure a human. It's easy to forget how dangerous a dog can be when she's your little snuggle bunny, and when you have seen the behavior happen several times. So again, this is from the experts at Onion River as well. And that's my concern. It's a year old, and we're at the table talking about another bite. So
I wish they would have given me some actual help back then. Like they knew, they still know I have problems with email. I am the worst person with email.
But they were
Not-
just reiterating
not-
what they talked to you about
Right.
in this email. They said they spoke about this with you.
Okay, I honestly don't really know what to say. I think I might have to have you start going with me to the vet. I mean, it's not an excuse. I've got learning disabilities. I need things explained in different ways sometimes. Like I'm a visual learner. A lot of things skip my mind. I don't do it on purpose.
I think what was just read was really the crux of the issue, that the dog is very dear, snuggly, warm and loving, and can get triggered and behave in very dangerous ways. And you don't really see that until it's there.
Right.
I know when she's gonna get to that point sometimes,
Well,
but I agree that she needs a muzzle, 100%. And her crate, it looks like jail bars, like it's literally jail bars all the way around and on top. That one she can't break through. I will literally try everything possible. I'm even willing to make an appointment with Onion River, just to speak about with Hope. See if Dr. Cornwall would be willing to do that.
the problem is this
So-
doesn't change.
I know, I'm just trying.
It's part of the dog's DNA at this point.
She was never like this.
And that's one of the things that concerned me, is that they indicated in the questioning and the answers and the documentation that it was, that the problem was getting worse, not getting better. So it's tough for us to, I've had every kind of, I haven't had a pit bull, I've had German Shepherds, Doberman Pinschers,
I don't have a
Rottweilers.
nipple.
Well, whatever the,
She's a mutt. All my
Yeah.
dogs are mutts.
but regardless, I've had all the dangerous breeds, and I understand, what's required to keep those dogs under control, and I think, I'm not, this is really tough, because, I feel like Onion River's already explained to you what you need to do, and I don't know how making another appointment for them to explain it again, and I think that's what Vince is getting at, how is that gonna change?
Because I need help. I don't need them just to tell me what to do.
But
I need them to help me,
But-
guide me in the right direction. So the other day when she suggested the muzzle project, even though she never sent me the notes from Duncan's visit with Hope's notes in there too, I remembered it and I went in and I made my own account and I specifically emailed them and they got back to me and I just have to put in her measurements.
Flo, do you have anything? Any questions?
Not at this moment.
Okay.
Maybe perhaps as we move forward, but not right at this moment.
Is there anything else? You good?
I would like to say that I did, exchange some emails with, Officer Marshall Collier. And I did offer, and I still have the emails, offered to pay for any outstanding, medical
We have
bills
it.
that Sylvia Parker has. Or any medical items she may need, gauze, bandages, antibiotic ointment, if she needs a ride to a doctor. And I even offered for him to give her my phone number, to contact me because I wanted to see how she was doing.
I think we have to, don't
What?
It's in the package, but
we? We should mention that we've
Sure.
received some information from East Montpelier with concerns about the dog being in East Montpelier next to a daycare.
Yes.
The daycare's completely fenced in, she's never gone over the daycare.
Just saying, we have received concerns from them expressing their concern over the dog coming back to East Montpelier.
If you mean complaints from the daycare itself,
Concerns,
Concerns, not
just a
complaints.
concern.
but from the daycare.
no,
From
from
a
someone in
resident,
the
from a resident in East Montpelier
They didn't name the
raised a
resident.
concern to the town of East Montpelier when they saw the notice.
Well,
And
I
they sent
know
us a
that,
concern as well.
that Lynn, who owns the daycare, is really not a big fan of me. I ended up having to take my child out of her daycare, for very inappropriate reasons on her part. So,
I don't, yeah,
She
that's
just
not
doesn't
really
like me.
relevant to the dog bite, so we don't need to get into that.
I just wanted to make sure that you were aware of it, cause it was submitted to us and if we're
And
gonna
it'll be in
consider
the,
it.
it'll be in the package
packet.
that you get as well. I'll make a copy of this, once we break, and I'll give you a copy.
Oh, that was Sylvia's.
Yeah.
may I ask why, do you have a packet of everything already?
Yes.
Yeah, she was.
Why
provided-
haven't I received a packet of anything?
We
What
just,
on the dog
what we
owner?
followed was the state statute of how this was supposed to proceed, and that wasn't included, in the requirements for that. But again, you can certainly have one.
It would have just been easier if it was right in front of me.
Sure.
If there's
That's it.
no other questions, no other comments,
Is there any other evidence or testimony from anyone else?
seems none. I think we can move into deliberation.
I'll
Just
make
wanna
a-
make sure, oh,
What does that mean, deliberation?
That's, what'll happen is was read in the beginning, is the board will make a motion to go into deliberation, and the meeting will end, and the board will sit here privately, and go through the evidence and make a decision, and then it'll be put in writing and sent to both of you of what the decision of the board is.
How long does that usually take?
The decision will be made tonight, the paperwork will probably be completed tomorrow, and sent out by the end of the day tomorrow.
Then may I ask one thing? My daughter is away at boarding school in Bennington. God forbid if you guys have me put her down. I really need my daughter to be able to say goodbye.
Vince is writing it down.
Okay. If there isn't anything else,
Do we just close this, or do
We'll
we,
close.
We'll make a
this.
motion to go into deliberation and adjourn the meeting.
or do we adjourn the meeting
The
first?
public,
The public portion.
Yeah.
I'll move to adjourn the public portion of the meeting and enter deliberative session.
So after, when you guys make the decision tonight, is it, I'm not gonna be able to sleep, can you just call me and tell me what your decision is, please?
Are we sure we're going to make a decision
Well,
tonight?
we're not, again, we're gonna try to, but by law, we have up to 30 days.
Right, well,
So-
just if you do.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
really sorry about this.
Yeah.
This is the worst, my worst nightmare, because I am a huge dog fan and I don't even, I like dogs better than most people, so this is not an easy.
Is there a second to the
Anyway,
motion?
sorry.
Yes, I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, public portion of the meeting is closed.